understand it, but I'm going to read the text first. Ruby, this is just a little bit too high. I will read the text first in Italian. Domani, amici, il mondo ancora ci sarà, un mondo di sofferenza, un mondo di preoccupazioni. Ma oggi danziamo e diciamo all'universo che c'è l'amore e ci sono canti per tutti. Getta la gioia come rose nel vento che ride, riempi l'aria di melodia. Di a tutti che la gioia appartiene a chi sorride alla vita e ne vede la bellezza.
Mañana, friends, the world will still be there. A world of suffering, a world of care. Today we'll dance and tell the universe there's love and song for everyone. Fling joy like roses on the laughing wind. Send melodies upon the air. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair. Fling joy like roses on the laughing wind. Send melodies upon the air. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair. Mañana, friends, the world will still be there. A world of suffering, a world of care. Today we'll dance and tell the universe there's love and song for everyone. Fling joy like roses on the laughing wind. Send melodies upon the air. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair. Fling joy like roses on the laughing wind. Send melodies upon the air. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair. Fling joy like roses on the laughing wind. Send melodies upon the air. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair. Tell everyone that joy is theirs alone. Who'll smile at life and call it fair.
Il secondo canto, i nostri vecchi amici sanno bene, intitolato Napoli. E per questo canto vi invitiamo di cantare anche voi per il ritornello, che è molto, molto difficile. La, 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 la. Però, per non annoiarvi, facciamo una piccola sfida. Prima cantano le donne, poi gli uomini e poi tutti insieme. So you're welcome to join us on the refrain. La 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 la. And but first the women will sing, and then the men, and then everyone together. And we will guide you in that. Poi guidiamo questo.
Sono qui da Napoli, la 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 la. Cantano con gioia lì, la 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 la. La
Buongiorno a tutti, che gioia essere qui. Non
What
si
a
può
joy
dire
to-
che Swami non
what a
sapesse
joy
come
to be
alzare
here.
l'energia di un gruppo,
You
vero?
cannot say everything about Swami, not that he didn't know how
Swami
to create high
ha sempre
energy, how to
detto
uplift the energy. He always
di
said
aver avuto sempre
that he had
2 desideri nella vita.
always 2 desires in
Uno,
life. One
trovare
was to
Dio.
find God, and the
L'altro,
other
aiutare gli
to help
altri
others
a
to find
trovare Dio.
God.
Lui ha trovato
He
Dio?
found God.
Beh, lui
Well,
era
he
sempre
was
uno
always one
con il suo maestro,
with
che
his
era la
guru,
forma che Dio aveva
which was the
scelto
form that
per farsi amare
God
da lui e
chose
da
for
noi.
him.
E noi
And we
speriamo
hope
che in molti
that
troveremo
many
Dio
of
in questa
us
vita, ma
will
non c'è
find God in
dubbio
this life. There's no
che
doubt
Swami
about the
abbia
fact that Swami
trasformato la vita
transformed
di
life of all of us,
tutti quanti l'hanno conosciuto.
all those who knew
Ma
him, who met him.
questo non vuol
But
dire
this doesn't mean
chi l'ha
that,
conosciuto, solo chi l'ha conosciuto in vita.
he was only
Il
known by
magnetismo
those who met him when he was still alive. His magnetism and his consciousness was so strong that he still can transform life of those who attune themselves with that consciousness and magnetism. This morning we will hear how he was able to touch and transform lives of so many friends, and for that, and to demonstrate that fact that this is not a privilege just for a few, those few who met him when he was still alive. We will also hear some speakers who never met him, but who met him after he had left his physical body. And he was so great that he continues to transmit his vibration, his message, even through his books, through his voice when he sings his music. And there are many videos that you can watch on YouTube, and it will be like being in his presence, or better, it will be being in his presence. So let's start with our beloved spiritual director Kirtani. So difficult to choose what we want to say, how Swamiji transformed our lives, because for all of us, being with him meant a transformation, signified a transformation. I would like to share a few stories that might seem to be very personal, like Swami when he speaks with us, when he scolds us occasionally, when he gives us guidance, when we see him acting. It may seem that this is something personal, and in a way it is, but at the same time, this is always contains lessons for each one of us. So it's not just for one person. It regards our path towards God. The first story that I would like to share with you is that Swamiji in 1979 received an invitation to come to Europe for a conference about communities, and he invited me to to travel with him along with another small group of people. And what I saw during this tour in Europe was that Swamiji was very universal in his approach. In whatever situation, in England, Holland, Germany, Italy, he was always able to touch people with what they needed to hear, to receive. And that meant, for me, the meaning of this tour with him meant for me in Europe, meant for me that this was like like a foretaste of my own Dharma in life, which was not to stay in the United States where I was born, but to spend my life in Europe and to serve here. And I know that Swamiji had this capacity. He was, and in my life this was always true, that he knew what people needed, what the next step was, and to start to open the road that would take me and us to the next situation in life. And in fact, that tour took me to receive the opportunity to come here again in 1981 for a year to really start Ananda's work for the Master and for Swamiji in Europe. So it was not something that I could feel that I would do for the rest of my life. I didn't foresee that then. This is something that can happen, of course, that Swamiji helps us to look to see something, a part of our Dharma for the future, to inspire us, to give us a lesson, but without frightening us. Because if he had told me, Swamiji had said something about that I had lived here in Europe and that I would have been the spiritual director for Ananda Europe, I would probably have run away. I would certainly have run away, because I never wanted to stand in front of audiences or to be in some position. We were talking right now about Leos in astrology that are often that the Leos here at Ananda are not typical Leos. They're more behind the scenes. But Swami could see what was not a role that I had to take, to assume to be important, but it was the role that I needed for my own spiritual growth. And that was always what the most important point that he had for each one of us. Let's dedicate a few words when Swami spoke. Certain things that he said stay with us. Those are the things that, the moments that came that signified an important change in our attitude. So in this case, for example, Swami was talking in America, maybe 10 years after the beginning of the community there. He was talking to the whole community there. It was something like a celebration for the village, and he said, I did something that I feel could bring us in a direction that would not help us to serve Master and the people who are looking for God and for Master. He said that I can see that people understand that Ananda is a community of yogis, and that people come and they think I'm a yogi. So I'm a yogi. I'm here. Whereas each one of us knows to be more or less here and not there. So they were deluding themselves to be on a higher level than they really were. They were not accepting their own level. So Swami then said, if one comes here and rationally thinks, I'm a yogi, so I have to be there at that level, but really is only on a much lower level of consciousness, how can that person then really make any step forward and reach up to that higher level? If you don't understand where you are, if you don't accept where you are, how can you take a step forward to to a higher level of awareness. So Swami wanted Ananda to be an environment where people could come knowing that where they were and understanding that they could take steps forwards from where they were. And his own life was an example for us in that, because he never stepped forwards like someone who knew everything. All he wanted to be was a good disciple, and that this message in that moment was for me very important to receive. I don't need to worry that in this moment, even now, today, that I have arrived where I need to be. I know that I have work to do, and in order to have a community where people can take their steps, there has to be this type of attitude of acceptance and understanding of where you are. Everyone needs to accept and understand that this is the type of work you need to do. And if you find yourself here for a period of time, you can see that Ananda is a place where Swamiji helped to manifest that it's an ideal place where you can just take your next steps in your spiritual growth. In this way, Swamiji transformed my life, because Ananda for me was and has been and continues to be the environment where I always find more opportunities for my growth. And Swamiji was also always the inspiration for almost all of us here, giving us in every moment of the history of Ananda, when it helped, when the opportunity to take vows, for example, to make promises, to take important decisions, to put more energy, give more, commit yourself more deeply, not only helping yourself, but also accepting the challenge to help others. So as you can see, there are at Ananda opportunities to become a minister of Ananda, which is that level where you fully express your desire to be a channel of Master, or to become a light bearer, to even be more strongly a channel of light for other people. Swamiji inspired each one of us, transformed us through ceremonies that give us, like this Festival of Light, for example, that we will do tomorrow, that we can receive and be channels of light. And Swamiji gave this opportunity also through the vows of discipleship, the Kriya vows, of course, the higher Kriyas. When Swami said that told me that I should be a Kriyacharya, there's always a choice, but it's not always easy to say yes, because I had this feeling that it would be too much a responsibility for me. Being a Kriyacharya is maybe the biggest challenge that Swamiji gave me, and not because I didn't love Kriya, not because I didn't feel the power of Kriya, but it was an old, maybe karma that Swami helped me to overcome more quickly, so that I could do what I really wanted to do. And he asked me to become a Kriyacharya, and I did say yes. In my mind, I gave myself a lot of time to give my first initiation, but maybe because we had only one or two of those initiations, and I wanted to postpone the decision to give that initiation myself. But and then I came to America, and there was a Kriya initiation. It was on Saturday, and I met Swami 2 days before. He was in his room, and he said to me occasionally, "I want you to give the initiation on Saturday." So I had 2 days to prepare myself for that, inwardly to prepare myself, because Swamiji understood that there was a need for me to overcome this resistance. And so maybe this is also one of the things that it's the way in which Swamiji was my friend, that he would always push me a little bit beyond what I felt I would be able to do, to be able to arrive, to understand that it's not me acting, but to open up instead to the Master, so that he can act through me. And that is the challenge of my life, maybe, that Swamiji, being a true divine friend, when he says something about divine friendship, by the way, when he speaks about Master. He said about his Guru, but I feel that for many of us, his way to transform our lives was by being a true divine friend. And that is what Clarita said before, that we are capable, each one of us, to feel that friendship through his words. And this is one of the things that he said. I'll say it in English and then I'll translate it, so you can listen to 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗘 directly. He's on my side, and every struggle against delusion. Could anyone be a better friend than that? He was on my side. He was by my side. He took my part in every battle against delusion. Could there be a better friend than that? Thank you, Swamiji. Grazie. Thank you, 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗘. Now is the moment for Ruby, who started her stay at Ananda when she was still a child with her family, her parents and her brothers and sisters. You have lots of time. You can speak for 2 minutes. Wonderful to be here united again in Swami's love. As Clarita said, Swami touched my life at a very young age, when I was only a little child, but I didn't want to talk so much about that, but how Swami is still touching my life, because in the beginning I didn't have much time personally with Swami. The meetings I had with him, maybe 2 or 3 times that I met him. So there's not a long story of personal stories, but I can feel that 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗘 said, Swami, in the beginning it was his music. I grew up with his music was at home, and it always gave me a lot of comfort, a lot of consolation, even without knowing that that was Swami's music. I only found out that later. And then his books came. I started reading his books, and I could feel that I was talking with a friend, that I was thinking how my soul could feel that this was right. I could feel how much strength he could give me to go on with my path, on my path. Even though I was in a school and in an environment where nobody could understand this. So Swamiji was always present there with me. And so Swami also continues to be present. Swamiji was always in contact with, so it was not never his form, his physical form that determined my bond with him. It was his presence, his consciousness that was always there with me. So when I was a child, I learned it came through music. That still continues for each one of us. But I would like to share two small stories how Swami is still present and how we can reach his consciousness of pure friendship, of love and wisdom. And this is a particular period for me. And I am thinking of the purification ceremony that he created, where we have to say this special phrase, "Open your heart to me, I will enter and take care of your life." And that's the way it is. So this is a big prayer in my life, that I'm here and I want you to enter my heart and do everything and open me up completely, even though I don't know how to move and where to move. And so I had a sort of morning of seclusion, let's say, where I was thinking of taking a pilgrimage, quote unquote, to Swami. So I went to Swami's house, I meditated there, and I stayed for a longer period. And I said, "Okay, Swami, now let's spend the day together. You tell me what you want us to do." So I had the idea of going to Assisi, maybe to the 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗟𝗓𝗔𝗦, the Hermitage. So I took the car and said to Swami, "Okay, let's go to Assisi." But then there was another voice saying, "But first, go to Ananda and have breakfast." It was 9:30 or something. No, I don't want to be surrounded by people. I just want to be with you, Swamiji. I don't want to have breakfast with other people. I could feel, no. But he continued to say, "Okay, go and have breakfast." So I go to Ananda. The dining room was already almost empty because it was late. I eat my porridge. I was still alone there. "But Swami, why did you send me to this to have breakfast here and I'm alone? I'm here with my breakfast alone." But then, who entered? So I wasn't thinking of it. Bhakti enters the room and she says, "Bhakti, are you working on the schedule?" Bhakti came into the dining room, and so I needed to meet with her, so maybe we can talk about it. So this came out of my mouth. So it was beautiful, we spoke, and then we had a conversation, and what can we do? And when I got out of the meeting, I felt, yes, this is still the reason why I had to come to Ananda, to have this contact with Bhakti. And it was beautiful, because it was not something that I had thought. I wasn't rationally thinking, let's talk about it. It was like Swami talking through me. So that was a beautiful way of receiving Swamiji's guidance. So I went to Assisi then. I had to do some shopping. I was in Foligno then. And it was time to go home, because it was already in the afternoon. I still had some work to do. So I look at my watch and I say, okay, now it would be nice to spend some more time in Assisi, meditate a little bit, but it's late and maybe I need to go home. Go home. So I had a crossroad where I could choose. One would go to Assisi first and the other one would take me straight to the center. So my mind said, no, you have to go home, That's what my mind said. But in my heart I felt, no, go to Assisi. You need some more blessings. And so you have to take the Superstrada, the big road. And so right straight on, or do I turn left to Assisi? And I said, Swami, what shall I do? At that moment, I had to decide. So I went straight to, so I had to decide. And so, what did I do? Trucks. But there were works on the road, men on the road, and there were lots of deviations. I was going towards the center, but right at that moment they were closing the road that would lead straight to the center. So I had to take the road to Assisi. I had no choice at that point. At that moment, it was a beautiful message for me, because even when I don't do the right things, in any case, Swamiji takes me in the right direction anyway. For me, this was a very deep and dear message. If we really put all our willpower, even though our meditations are not always perfect, and although even though we're not always thinking of God and Swami, because we are carried away by our thoughts, our emotions, still if we put all our intention and our strength, then they are there for us, and they support us and they guide us towards the light, towards freedom. And that is the experience that I had with Swamiji in these days. And I think that Swami will continue to be present for each one of us if we open our hearts. I will enter and take care of your life. Now we have Suryani. Where is she? Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Suryani. And the thing that has inspired me from the very beginning most about Swami, first time I saw him, was this beautiful laugh that he had, his beautiful laughter. He would laugh with his whole body. It was just like a gush of fresh air, not only when he laughed, but also when he smiled. And I like that, because even though he's no longer here now, very often I can still see that smile, that laughter. I can see it in people. I see it in people who knew him. And it's like he's still a little bit there to smile at me through those people. And that is what I love so much about it. And it's something that it's like an escamotage that helps me to change my mood, also to think of Swami and look for that smile and have some more energy. I came here in 2009. It was Easter then, through two friends who didn't know each other, but who came separately, had been separately here, and both of them spoke to me about this place, and I said, okay, sounds good what they say. So when there was an opportunity for me, they asked me to come, and so I came very happily. But I have to say, I'm very grateful that I followed these two friends, because because the first time here was a rather strong impact energetically. I wasn't ready for that. I thought I came here to do some yoga and a little meditation, but when I arrived and I saw the masters and I saw Christ, and I thought, oh my God, where am I? The first time, however, Swami was not here, and unfortunately, I think he was in India. But it touched me. Everything touched me. That I liked the environment, the energy. I felt a lot of peace, and that inspired me very much. And I thought, who has done all this? Who has done all this? Mentally, I asked myself, who created this beautiful place? Such a beautiful place. I've traveled a lot. I've toured around. I was looking for something, didn't know what it was, but when I arrived here, it felt like I was receiving answers to the questions that I always asked, the questions I always asked myself. And so it was really special to find everything that I needed in a little place like this. And then I went back home, and 2 months go by. It was my birthday. It was June, and I had taken a week off to do some work at home. I don't know at a certain point, I don't know how I did it. I took the phone, called Ananda and said, "Is there place for me?" And he said, yeah, there's place. You can come. What are you doing? I was saying to myself. I'm a very rational person. Everything I do, I think about, I program everything in detail. And this went beyond my reach. Now that I've booked, I said, I have to go. I've booked. So I didn't even know if my car would be able to take me all the way. There was an old car, but I felt a great attraction. I felt like pulled here. During the journey, I was wondering, why are you doing this? I hadn't warned anyone, I hadn't said anyone. I was thinking, why am I coming here? I get here finally, and I discover that finally I can meet the person that founded all this. So I'm very happy. So there is this satsang with him. The room was packed. It was completely packed. And when I read Asha's book, I discovered that he had just arrived from India or Switzerland or something. And I was shocked. I see this man, so different from my expectations. He was rather short. He was a bit frail, but he was also giving me lots of tenderness. And he begins with his usual opening joke. Everybody laughs, and so I said, okay, I like this. And so I stayed. I was in love immediately. Love at first sight. If I am here, it's because Swami, I think, attracted me, pulled me here. And then I understood, why did I come here? Why did I feel attracted to come by him? Not only did I come here to start immediately, I came later, 4 years later, in 2013. It wasn't easy to leave everything I had in Como in the north, but I felt that this was the right decision to make. And at a certain point I said to myself, I'll talk with Sananda, who was then responsible for Services Joy department, and he said, okay, everything fine. And he starts talking to me about Swami and about the movie, that he was in America. Would you like to go to America? I said, yeah, I would like to go to America. Why not? I can organize it for you. I said, no, well, it will be something short. So just the Monday after that, the person who organizes in America, Services Church, said, okay, you want to come? If you want to come, we are happy to have you. I was so happy. I could spend time with Swami Kriyananda there, and there was a movie being made, and there was Spiritual Renewal Week. So, oh yeah, I will spend lots of time with Swami. I was so happy. I was in heaven. And then I arrived the beginning of April there, but as you know, just a few weeks later, he left his body here at Assisi. And I have to say, I was, of course, shocked by his demise, but also a little disappointed because I had lots of expectations to be with him. And these expectations were then not met. Do you still want to go? And I said by myself, what sense does it have if Swami's now there? He was the reason I was there in America. I wanted to go to America. But then there was something in me that said, you have to go. I was terrified. I didn't know anyone there. Didn't know who I was going to meet, who were these people. But within, I could feel that it was the right thing to do. And so I went to America, finally, spent 6 months there. I said after the first day, I wanted to live there, stay there forever. It was just the place where I wanted to be. it was a paradise. It is a paradise for me, that place. So I said, okay, I like it a lot. I like to be here. And then I had to come back to Como, unfortunately. And I had another experiment in Pune, in India, where there's another village. And there I spent 3 months. And the good thing that I learned when I was in Pune in India, I don't know if it was my fantasy or if something happened, but I remember that the evening when I arrived, there was a kirtan with the monks, and I felt Swami being there. I don't know if I had a real vision or that was my fancy, but I felt that I could feel his presence, that he was there with me, and I understood that it doesn't really matter that he's no longer the body, he's with us. And when you call him, when you look for him, when you ask something, I know that he will be there and bring answers. And that for me has become the most precious gift that I've received from Swami. I know that if I look for him mentally, some answer will come through people that are close to me, but I know that it's him who's giving me the answer. What I always like, I work here in our front office, and when the guests arrive, sometimes you see faces that are a bit, uncertain, doubtful, and then when they leave, they always have a big smile on their face that goes from one cheek to the other. And I always think, again, this is Swamiji that is greeting me through their smile. Thank you. Isn't it wonderful to see how many ways Swamiji worked and touched people? Now, I see, 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗘 is in Samadhi, but it's still his moment to need to go to the bathroom.
So hello everyone. My relationship with Swami has been two in a way double. One as a human level as a father, because he really took me under his wing, and the other one was spiritual, because he for me today is this point of reference spiritually, and I will tell you a little bit more about his figure as a father. Because I came here in 1989, so maybe some of you weren't even born yet. And outwardly I was very much a rebel and very strong, very inwardly, in reality. There was a great lack of self-confidence in me. And I was someone who was very timid. Which maybe you wouldn't say so, but that was the truth. And Swami Ananda had a sense of this. He immediately received me. He understood who I was. Another thing that was very strong was
one of the first things he said to me, if you like, go to Self-Realization Fellowship, because they're monks. You can go there and be a monk, or you may feel that this is a place for you. And the choice that I made was to stay here. At that moment, they were attacking Swami Kriyananda, and I said, no, I don't want it. If they attack my spiritual father, I don't want to go there. But just to understand that he understood what was behind it. It was the first meeting that we had here in the dining room. Maybe it was in 1990 or something. Swamiji arrived. And it was very typical that he would ask me those questions. I had read all his books. he asked these questions, had some strong questions. I wanted authenticity. I wanted to know. And he really conquered me. Because he accepted me exactly the way I was. He said, the question was, who are you? It was a visiting Swami from India then. And he said, so you spoke to Swami Kriyananda in India. You can never speak like that to a Swami. But Swami was very respectful, all the same. He said it was much deeper. Vairag. And then another lady, Vairagi, who lived here then from America, she gave me a message from him. He said, Swami had a very good impression of you. Can you imagine? Now I'm here. Then, I was still very small then. I was still very young. And he made me head of the Guide of Living Discipleship, it's what it's called now, an ashram program. And they do a program of 1 month. I was younger than all those whom I was supposed to give training. And he sent me to do this. He gave me this mission. And then at a certain point, I studied with them something that was the rule of Ananda. I had to study this with them. The rule of living at Ananda. So you have to study the guidelines of the community. Swami was there. I went to him, young, and I said, Swami, I don't like this. This feels not like Ananda, this rule. That's not who we are. And he looked and he said, I'll think about it. Next day he said, I like your suggestion. Let's change it. And from then on, the rule has become guidelines for living at Ananda, with which I want to say that he looked always beyond. He never would say to me, who are you to give me this suggestion? You've just arrived and you're young. But he said, no, let's think about it. And so he acted. Then sometime later, Swami, I asked him, I had him so many questions. I'd ask him, do I have to get married? Do I not have to get married? And also, do I have to teach Ananda Yoga? Everything I asked him. Because Ananda Yoga is not completely central to our teachings, more Raja Yoga, but he said, see, that's a good thing for you to do, to teach yoga, Ananda Yoga, Hatha Yoga. Do I have to write a book? Because I did feel inspiration. I said, yes, my books are seminal, but others will, from those seeds that I plant through my books, you can expand, others can expand. So I said, okay, let's have everything checked by Swamiji. What I'd written, after I'd written something, I wasn't in the inner circle. I wasn't always having lunch with him, for example. But there were other people, like Narya. Narya, could you give this book to Narya, to Swami? And so that I can know that it's okay what I've written. Narya went to Swami, and Swami said, it's not necessary. I trust Jayadev. And that if you have low self-esteem, for example, and then something like that happens from your own spiritual father, that has a very strong impact. And then he tells me the whole story. He was director, and I had a very difficult relationship with the spiritual director that was there in the beginning, and he also had a difficult relationship with me, and we attacked each other. And this usually doesn't happen at Ananda. We attacked each other. It was terrible. Swami came because he would always come for a few weeks every year, and he helped us young people. He invited us over to a restaurant, and I was sitting next to him. And again, he was looking, we were arguing, it was a bad situation, but he looked beyond, and he said, 𝗟𝗓𝗩, then my name was not yet 𝗟𝗓𝗩, but he said, 𝗟𝗓𝗩, you are a jewel, you are a gem. This stayed with me so deeply, because he could see this. He not just in me, but in each one of us. And that's what he wants to do with my yoga students. Everyone here, look inside, and he sees what is beyond the surface. You try to see that, exactly that. I'd like to finish with a small story that I wrote. I wrote many things about Swami, but about my conversations with him. I asked him thousands of questions, poor man. And he always answered me through mail. This is one of the things. This was in a restaurant with him. Sahaja, my wife, was present too. We were with Swami, and he said to us, you have both have a beautiful appearance. You've changed a lot compared to how you were when you first came. I said to him, I'm happy about that you didn't know me before Ananda. I'm glad you didn't know me before I came to Ananda. Swami said, no. You were doing well even then. And then I said, I don't know. My first yoga teacher, after a few years, came to visit me here at Ananda and said, now I see a totally different person from the one that I had known. And Swami said, isn't that amusing? Even a mafioso can become a saint. This was a joke, of course, but then, I haven't shared this with many, but it was quite strong. He said, you have arrived as a saint. Now you're more saintly. And this is not about me. This was Swami for each one of us. This is what he saw. I wasn't saintly. I'm not saintly now, but this is what he sees. And this is what he wants to see in me, and he wants me to bring it out. And he wants to see it in the people who come to Ananda. You're all saints. Swami gave this to me, and this is what we want to give to others. And so the masters help us to draw our potential, highest potential out of us. 𝗟𝗓𝗩 is different from Kirtani. Kirtani is different from Gitanjali, Shivani, but each one of us is marvelous in his essence, and the masters work to draw that out of us, the gem, the jewel. Now we will do a short break, 15 minutes, and then we will be again here at 12:20. Make sure your watch is good. I'll see you here in 20 minutes, in 15 minutes. Please be punctual, because we have to leave the temple punctually at 1:30, because there will be a wedding here, which is a private event. We haven't been invited, and they have to prepare the temple for that. So please, let's leave. Have a good break. hear me? Okay. So there we are. Back here. We have the great fortune and the joy to have Sergio with us. Marvelously, because he had to make a big effort to get a visa to be able to come to Europe. And until the last moment, we didn't know whether we were going to give it to him. And so now we have the privilege and the joy. So there he is. And he will speak English. Devo tradurre.
Però parlerò in inglese. Sì, non parlerò affatto. Quindi, all right, Darshan, thank you.
Thank you.
I contemplate at times the episode that Swamiji shares during his time as a young monk in SRF.
C'è una storia che Swami racconta durante il periodo quando era un giovane monaco alla Self, sulla quale spesso mi soffermo e contemplo quella storia.
And this is when Swami overhears Master say, "Look how I have changed Walter."
Ed è quando Swami viene a sapere che il maestro di lui dice: guarda come ho cambiato Walter, come lo chiamava.
And I think a part of our spiritual maturity
E penso io che parte della nostra maturità spirituale
is to tune into how the masters change us.
è che riusciamo a sintonizzarci con la misura, col modo in cui i maestri ci vogliono cambiare, ci cambiano.
It's not easy to know who's at work here because we think we're doing so much.
Non è sempre facile capire chi è che fa il grande lavoro, perché noi tendiamo a pensare che siamo noi che facciamo tutto il lavoro.
We don't quite know what they're doing.
Ma è perché noi non è che capiamo bene quello che stanno facendo loro.
But of course this change is not automatic.
Ma chiaramente questo cambiamento non succede in modo automatico.
They don't just give it to us.
Non è che ci danno.
When Swamiji first wrote that script,
Quando Swami scrisse, cominciò a lavorare a
it
quella
was very
sceneggiatura,
different from what we've now seen, the final script.
era ancora molto diverso da quello che abbiamo visto, quello che vediamo adesso nel film.
He had written it with the intention of him being in the film.
Perché l'aveva scritto con l'idea che lui stesso sarebbe stato presente nel film.
And a seeker would come to him.
E poi ci sarebbe anche un episodio successivo.
And this seeker would ask questions of Swamiji.
Seeker, you
Seeker,
said. Sorry, ok.
sorry.
I thought you said sequel. Allora, un ricercatore spirituale viene da Swamiji
And in asking questions of Swami,
e chiede domanda a Swami.
he would tell stories from his past and it would be a flashback film.
E Swami dà delle risposte che contiene storie del passato, così ci sono dei frammenti del passato che appaiono sullo schermo.
And so he had written out this entire script with this back and forth, present and past.
E così tutta la sceneggiatura era impostata in quel modo di un gioco di andata e ritorno al passato e al presente.
And originally this seeker
E originalmente questo ricercatore
was was going to be Elizabeth Rom from the film Finding Happiness.
doveva essere Elizabeth Rome del film Finding Happiness.
But thanks to the energy she must have received during that film,
Ma grazie all'energia che deve aver ricevuto durante quel
her
film,
career suddenly took off and now she had so many other movie opportunities she could no longer do this film.
era diventata così magnetica che ha avuto tante altre offerte per la sua carriera e non era più in grado di fare questo film.
So one morning Swamiji was telling us at breakfast, Narayani and me,
E quindi una mattina con Narayani e io siamo a colazione con Swamiji
that 𝗟𝗡𝗪𝗘𝗠 can no longer come and be part of this
E
film.
ci racconta il fatto che 𝗟𝗡𝗪𝗘𝗠 non può tornare per fare il suo ruolo in questo film.
So he says, I'm planning to make some changes to this character.
E così cerco di cambiare questo personaggio da ricercatore.
And he looks at me and says, Shurju, would you like to play this character?
E dice, e mi guarda e mi dice, vorresti tu fare il ruolo di questo ricercatore?
So, okay, Swami, perhaps. Why not?
Va bene, forse sì, Swamiji.
So he started explaining to me. His name is going to be Gopala.
Allora mi spiega, allora si chiamerà Gopala,
He's going to be very intellectual.
molto intellettuale di carattere,
And little by little, he's going to open up his heart and become very devotional.
e piano piano apre il suo cuore e diventa molto devozionale di
And so
carattere.
Swami said, could you play a devotional person?
Swami mi chiede, riusciresti tu a fare la parte di una persona devota?
For those of you who do not know me,
Per coloro che non mi conoscete, di voi che non mi
I'm
conoscono,
not outwardly a very devotional person.
non sembro almeno all'aspetto di una persona molto devozionale.
I don't very easily share my heart.
Non riesco facilmente a condividere quello che ho nel cuore.
In fact, that's probably my biggest obstacle in this life.
E forse questo è anche l'ostacolo più grande di questa mia vita.
So Swamiji says to me, could you play such a deeply devotional character, this change?
Swami me lo chiede, tu riusciresti a fare il ruolo di un personaggio così devozionale che ha questo cambiamento enorme?
I said, I could try, Swami.
E gli dico, potrei provare.
He's like, there's going to be a scene where you're going to have to hug the autobiography and cry.
Ci sarà una scena dove tu devi abbracciare, stringere l'autobiografia di uno yogi e piangere.
So, can you do that?
Lo potresti fare?
Like, I don't know.
Non lo so.
Anyway,
In ogni caso,
I guess he was kind of stuck with me. He didn't have too many other options last
non aveva molte altre opzioni, quindi doveva lavorare con me.
And so we film over many days this entire section of me being this young seeker.
E così cominciamo a filmare tutta questa parte del film dove io sono il giovane ricercatore
Walking through the streets of Kolkata,
che cammina per le strade di Kolkata,
finding Swami Kriyananda,
che incontra Swami Kriyananda
crying.
in lacrime con il libro.
And, this was a big operation. We had an entire filming crew. We had to take all these permits. It was an expensive process.
Era un processo, un grande lavoro con tutto il crew, tutta la squadra del film, l'equipaggio, i soldi per comprare anche le licenze, eccetera.
And then, of course, at the end of it, in a couple of months, Swami left his body.
E poi, dopo qualche mese, Swami lasciò il corpo.
And so the filming team had to completely change the script because we couldn't have any more this back and forth.
E l'equipaggio del film doveva cambiare tutto perché non potevamo più fare questa modalità tra presente e passato.
So the film, as it is now, was what they had to transform it towards.
E così il film è diventato quello che vedete adesso, il risultato finale.
And sometimes I think, maybe selfishly,
E a volte, forse un po' egoicamente, penso
that all Swami really wanted to do was make me more devotional.
che forse Swami voleva semplicemente risvegliare la mia
And so he
devozione.
has to create this entire film.
E così doveva creare questo intero film.
He has to spend all this money.
Doveva spendere tutti questi
He has to
soldi,
involve all these other people,
coinvolgere tutte queste
change an
persone,
entire script,
cambiare un'intera sceneggiatura
just so that one person
solo per una persona, perché una
learns how
persona
to open their heart a little more.
potesse aprire il cuore un po' di più.
And that's what the masters do for us. They write this entire script,
E questo è quello che i maestri fanno per
and
noi.
it's expensive.
Scrivono la nostra sceneggiatura
They have
ed
to
è una
change so
sceneggiatura
many
costosa.
things,
Cambiano tante cose,
move so many people,
spostano le persone da qua e là,
just so that one of us somewhere in here
perché uno di noi presente qui
has to figure one tiny little thing out.
possa capire almeno una cosa di
And that's how
più.
they change us.
Ed è così che ci cambiano i
And they have to
maestri.
change everything around us in order to make that little
devono
shift.
cambiare tutto per avere questo piccolo risultato.
And there was a shift.
E in me sicuramente c'è stato un cambiamento.
And I did learn to cry.
E ho imparato a piangere.
And I'm sure that he's doing the same with each and every one of you.
E sono sicuro che lo sta facendo con ognuno di voi.
Jai Guru.
Devo colmare una grave lacuna. Per chi non
Ora
lo sa,
devo
Surjo e la moglie
colmare
Narayani
un
hanno
voto,
vissuto
informazione.
molto
Surjo e
molto
il
vicino
marito
a
di
Swami negli
Narayani
ultimi
hanno
anni della
vissuto
sua
vicino
vita.
a Swami. Oh. Scusate.
Che succede?
Cambiate? Ok. Ora ascoltiamo un brano cantato da Kriyananda. He was, sorry. Okay. We will listen to a piece of music now sung by Swami. It's called Love is a Magician, which means that love is like a magician. It transforms you. Please close your eyes and receive within you the Swami's vibration, and through this song, the words are more or less: love is all I know, sun rays on the snow, of a winter long without song. Well, you will hear it in English. I don't remember all the words.
Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love. All the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool
was I to turn away? Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of our winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love. All the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away.
Swami says, for many years I roamed far away. I thought that consciousness is present here amongst us. And this consciousness transforms us. A few days ago I had the grace to react like from a Disney cartoon that Swami liked a lot. I felt a lot of love. At a certain point, the only thing I could think was following the Swami's example. These grumpy people around me who can get angry in such a light way as like this, like you see in the film with Grumpy. And this was Swami's kindness when he I had lots of desires in my life, not just to like Swamiji, and I still have lots of desires, but the deepest ones are the seeds that God has planted in my heart. And you need to have eyes to see and ears to hear, of course. That's the prerequisite for miracles to happen in our life. In the front office, Santoshi always gives me one thing to do at the computer. He says, change something here, change your site. And then I open another page on my computer, the Mespile, and then apart from changing your way of looking at things, you need to abandon, to surrender everything to God. I'm working on surrendering everything to God. This love that helps you to the ego to die every day a little bit more. And Swami had this patience with us. He must have been waited for us to become more mature. Sometimes I tell Yogananda, couldn't you tell me this before that it was like this? And then of course I give the answer to myself. Before I simply wasn't ready to receive these answers and to understand these things. And then when I've seen that when I give everything, I like to renounce myself when I look at what God wants to make of me. And so I give him the interest rate back. I had the desire to be with Yogananda physically, and many times I asked him, why did you leave me here without your physical presence? Why did you put me here? And then when I had more attunement with Swami also, I said the same thing to him. Why did I never get to meet you physically? So one of my desires then, at a certain point, was to, in 𝗕𝗥𝗬𝗘, in his house, after beautiful meditation for Kriya-Bans, and I would have stayed there to clean the house. There's something that I regularly do. It's a great gift to have that service, cleaning the house, cleaning 𝗕𝗥𝗬𝗘. Kirtani had finished her meditation, and I stayed there, and I had little time to wait until I could start cleaning, and I sat down in Swami's dining room. And there was the beautiful painting of the Divine Mother. I sat near that. And I start talking to Swami Kriyananda. And I tell him, I miss you. How can I have attunement with you? What a bad karma I must have not to have met you in person. And at that moment, I let everything go. And I started to read Touch of Love from a book from Swami Sandevi, and I chanced upon a letter that Yogananda wrote to one of his devotees, and the master writing, for a long time you had your mind get ahead of you, the whimsical mind you've never controlled. Now you want to give your best, but it's like fighting against a windmill because you've been without it for so long. But know that I'm always there. My blessings are always there, and I'm always sitting next to you. And so there, when I read that, I started crying. I thought this was thought of the breakfast I wanted to have with Swami, and I tried. I thought of this letter and I cried. And then Kirtani came and said, "What are you doing here?" And then I said to Kirtani, "I'm crying because of joy. In a while, I have to clean the house." Okay, you can stay. And Kirtani leaves. At that point I say, "No, Swami, you must come to me now." And I stretch out my hand, and there was his table, everything was there, the cutlery, his plate was there. I reach out with my hand and I said to Swami, I said, I'd like to have breakfast with you, help me. But in the meantime, I continued to cry. At a certain point, I was hungry. 𝗟𝗜𝗟𝗘𝗓𝗓 comes back with a little fruit salad. And she puts it right in front of me, almost where Swami said. I was sitting. And said, I thought you might be hungry. Maybe you needed to have breakfast. This is for you. She left then. She left and I started crying even harder. And so I immediately, and this was the demonstration to me that Swami did have breakfast with me. Nothing is impossible for God. Even more, because Swamiji, this great saint, like all our masters, is omnipresent. So he can do miracles at every moment. But you need to change your sight, your vision, and give everything to God. And then He will give everything to you. Thank you, Jayati, for this beautiful testimonial. Now we have another beautiful soul who never met Swami in the body, and she will share with us her testimonial. Hello everyone. I never met Swami in the body, and of course I do and all the things that they say about him, listen to his music, read his books, go to 𝗫𝗥𝗬𝗘 to meditate. All those things that they advised me to do, to seek attunement with our masters. But sometimes weird things happen to me. With Yogananda, I am at peace. With Swami, I'll say it in English, because this is what I really felt in the past. I felt a longing, like a deep, strong longing that I could have, wish I could have seen him in the body and met him in the body. And I received a gift. I never spoke about this with anyone, that I will now share with you. In 2018, I was doing a course here, and a moment it happened. I came to Ananda. I was absolutely I was very inward. My mood was very inward, which was very important for me because I'm a mother, and so when I have these moments, the opportunities for silence and centering, etc., I give it my all. They're very important for me. So I came here. I was a bit shy, of course. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't know anything, hardly anything about Ananda, this world. I didn't know what the blue dress meant and the yellow. I was on my own personal path, and we were chanting a chant, which was the wave of the sea. And at that point, at that moment, I felt Swami. And he was there, right there. He was really there. And I didn't open my eyes because I didn't want to enter in the idea of not seeing him, of the delusion of not seeing him. So, perfect. So, but then the mind sets in. And doubts come. And then we have these experiences. Would it be true? Would it not be true? Would I have imagined everything? Then after 3 or 4 months, I was about to receive initiation into Kriya Yoga. And next to me there is a book. And my eye falls on it. And it was My Heart Remembers, Swami Kriyananda. And at that point, I recognized that the person who was sitting next to me chanting Wave of the Sea had been Narayani. Her book then accompanied me during the period of initiation, and again Swami was so present, and he gave me this gift. He made this gift to make me feel his tangible presence. Jayati first spoke about how our teachings speak about the omnipresence, that there is that space and time don't exist. This is not so easy to conceive, to perceive, that we are in this body and to always be in this high vision. That is a big effort, but now I will tell you this experience every time when I have some doubt. I change my mind, I open my heart, I focus my mind, open my heart on Swami's presence, Master's presence. Last month we celebrated his moksha, Swami's moksha. I can't remember who it was. Someone said in one of the talks, I saw Swami, this light that he radiated from these eyes was what touched me most. Now I see this light everywhere. The eyes are no longer blue, they can have all sorts of colors. But this light, I can see now. Especially during these moments when we are many and we're together, we are gathered like a family gathering. His presence is really tangible. And something I'm very grateful about is also one of the many things, is that even though I never met him in the body, just like in the last years of the Master's life, I'm very grateful because we have people here with us who were near Swami, who knew Swami, and they they give us this vibration of their presence. So through them, we still have this. We have these people who live with Swami, we still have them near us. Thank you. So how would you like me to end this? I would like, and so I found this from the book 𝗕𝗚𝗪, Swami Kriyananda 𝗕𝗚𝗪. This was what Master wanted us to hear. Be yourself. God has a special song to sing through each one of you. Attune yourself with Him. Ask Him who He wants you to be. And then with courage, creativity and attunement, follow that superconscious calling. Thank you, all of you. You've opened your heart. And this is what is the most important thing to do. Now we finish with a piece of music. And I'd like to ask those who will be singing to explain the song they will be singing. And it's 𝗟𝗓𝗪 and 𝗟𝗓𝗪. They will be singing it in English, so you will understand. We know that Swami Kriyananda wrote many songs, and the last song he wrote was this one, dedicated to Divine Mother. The music was written by 𝗤𝗍. It was not his music. He wrote the words. It's a particular song of fishermen. And it was a song that he loved a lot. It was the duet of the pearl fishers. And so that melody he used to write other words. And so Sri Ananda sang this for the first time. And Swami heard it. But then Swami left a little bit earlier, and he heard it, and we now hear it sung from others.
You made the universe, yes, 𝗟𝗓𝗓, the Divine Mother, ruler of every heart's desire, love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in Thee. Yes, 𝗟𝗓𝗓, the Divine Mother, she who made the universe. Yes, 𝗟𝗓𝗓, the Divine Mother, ruler of every heart's desire, love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in Thee. Love more ancient, bliss eternal, may our hearts soon be merged in Thee.
Grazie,
Thank
avete
you.
cantato
This was
benissimo.
really beautifully sung. Divinely
Sì,
sung.
perché non avete
Because
cantato solo con le
were not
corde
singing just
vocali,
with your
ma con le
vocal
corde
cords.
del cuore.
But with the strings of your heart.
Bene.
Good.
Oh, chi organizza il matrimonio sarà felicissimo perché
People who
stiamo
are
finendo
organizing
con
the
un
wedding
grande
will be very
anticipo.
happy because we can stop now
Ah,
earlier.
Allora,
So
ci lasciamo qui
we will stop
e
here.
nel pomeriggio,
And in the
sapete, ci
afternoon,
sono
there will
altri
be
workshop ai
other
quali potete
workshops
partecipare
in which you can partake.
e poi le
then
pratiche e domattina ci
Practices.
incontriamo di
And
nuovo
tomorrow morning
qui
we'll meet again here
per sentire qualche testimonianza
hear
su come
some
la musica di
testimonials
Swami ha cambiato
about
la
Swami's
nostra
music
vita.
and how that changed our lives.
Questa sera ci
Tonight,
sarà il coro, grazie.
The choir will sing for the concert. Thank you.
Ci sarà il coro.
The choir will sing.
Ieri avete avuto un assaggio, questa sera avrete
Yesterday,
il
last
pasto
night,
completo
you had a
del
you had a
concerto.
little
Grazie a
appetizer,
tutti,
and
buona
tonight you'll have the
giornata.
full meal. Thank you.